of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 1, acceptance of meeting minutes. Minutes from meetings of April 7th and 27th, 2015 to be accepted and approved by the Town Council. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Motion has been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilman Faiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, the mayor's asked me to hold off on his items for a few minutes till he can get here. So I'm going to go to item number 7, BV license for Tree People, LLC, DBA Lucky Garden. Discussion and possible vote with regard to the issuance of a summons to appear related to the BV liquor license held by Tree People, LLC, DBA Lucky Garden Restaurant. We received a communication from them that I'll read into the record. Marianne, Tree People will not be in attendance tonight. The company is no longer operational and it has been evicted. Unfortunately, it cannot satisfy the requirements at this time to maintain the license. Sincerely, David Asillo, number 6620. So I'd like to entertain a motion to cancel this license out.
So moved. Second.
The motion's been made by Councilman Giusti, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 8, Class F liquor license. Town Council will consider a vote for the approval of a Class F license for St. Anthony's Church for the St. Anthony's Feast to be held from June 11, 2015 through June 14, 2015. Do I have a representative from St. Anthony's Church? Just please state your name for the record. Thank you. Everything's in order. Do we have any questions for Mr. Spaziano?
Make a motion to approve.
Councilman Giusti's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Second's been made by Councilman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? You guys have it. Item number 9. Town Council will consider a vote for the approval of an entertainment license for St. Anthony's Church for the St. Anthony's Feast to be held from June 11, 2015 through June 14, 2015. Any questions on the entertainment license?
Who's the entertainment?
I believe there's 4 different groups.
Okay.
One's Tribeca, another one is Brother to Brother. I'm not sure what it's about.
Good.
Sounds good. Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a
So
motion.
moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Have fun.
Item number 10, liquor license transfer of location. Town Council will consider the approval of a transfer of a location of a Class BV liquor license. Said application was advertised in the Providence Journal on April 17th and 24th, 2015 for a hearing on this date. From Mozzarella's of North Providence Incorporated, DBA Mozzarella's Grill and Bar, 1021 Mineral Spring Avenue, to Mozzarella's of North Providence Incorporated, DBR Mozzarella's Grill and Bar, 1460 Mineral Spring Avenue. Do we have a representative from the company?
Mr. President, I will be recusing from this item due to a business relationship.
Okay. I also would like to note that Councilman Warren is not able to make this meeting tonight, for the record, due to a death. Could you state your name for the record?
Jay Cello.
Okay. So basically, we're just moving this location from where, to where the ice house was?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions, Mr. Cello? Everything's pretty much staying the same as,
Yep.
okay. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilman Faiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? You guys have it. Victualling license. Town Council will consider the approval of a victualling license for Mozzarella's of North Providence Incorporated, DBA Mozzarella's Grill and Bar, 1416 Mineral Spring Avenue. I have a motion to approve. Is there any questions, first of all? We have a motion to approve the victual license pending all necessary requirements.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilman Faiolo. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 12, entertainment license. Town Council will consider the approval of an entertainment license from Mozzarella's of North Providence Incorporated, DBA Mozzarella's Grill and Bar, 1460 Mineral Spring Avenue. Do we have any questions about an entertainment license?
I do, Mr. President.
Councilman?
Mr. Cello, the entertainment, what types of entertainment are you going to be hosting at the facility? Because I know item 13 on the agenda is looking for an outdoor entertainment license, so I figured I'd ask them the questions both together.
Yep, like a one-piece or two-piece band, like, guitar and...
On the outside patio,
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
front
on
of
the
the
outside
building?
patio, yep. Yes.
Has any venue that was there prior to this done outside entertainment? Yeah?
The Talento, no, not Talento, it was the original Ice House. We approved the outdoor, it was like acoustic guitars, outdoor dining with...
So it's basically small,
Yes, very
okay.
small, yeah.
so not getting into a DJ,
No,
and
no,
music
no.
being run outside? and
No.
Okay.
Also?
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the entertainment license.
So moved.
Assuming all necessary requirements are met. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilman Faiolo. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 13, outdoor dining, outdoor entertainment. Town Council will consider the approval of an outdoor dining and outdoor entertainment license for Mozzarella's of North Providence Incorporated, DBA Mozzarella's Grill and Bar, 1460 Mineral Spring Avenue. Any questions?
I just do want to make a comment, Mr. Cello, and I really appreciate you being here and for doing business in the town. I really do. But I just want you, of course, and I know you will be because you're a good businessman, to be cognizant of the neighbors with the outdoor entertainment. We've not had a problem with the establishment prior to yours when they had outdoor entertainment, but we have had with others on the avenue, particularly because the residential homes are so close to the business. So if you would kindly be aware of that and monitor it, we'd really appreciate it.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Councilman?
What times will, are you looking to be serving outside? I mean, are you looking to stay open as much as the restaurant?
Yes, well, we stay open during the week till 10, at weekends, Friday and Saturday night, 11, so it'll be, till 11,
Till 11? Okay.
Is everybody satisfied with 11, or is that...
I think we'll leave it at 11, and if we hear otherwise that it's too late, if it's disruptive to the neighbors, we'll have to ask you to modify it, if that's
Okay.
reasonable.
So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the outdoor dining and outdoor entertainment license pending all necessary requirements.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilman Faiolo. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Good luck.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Item number 14, Class BV full liquor license application. Town Council will consider the approval of an application for a new Class BV liquor license from L&N Incorporated, DBA Red Ginger 2, 1852 Smith Street. Said application was advertised in the Providence Journal on April 17th and 24th of 2015 for a hearing on this date. Welcome.
Good evening. Mark Rubin.
Sally Ng.
Okay. Seems like everything's in order. Does anybody have any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Item number 15, victualling license. Town Council will consider the approval of a victualling license from L&N Incorporated, DBA Red Ginger, 1852 Smith Street, North Providence. Anybody have any questions on the victualling license?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'd like to make a motion to approve pending all necessary requirements. Councilman Juicy's made the motion. Councilwoman Brady seconded it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Proposed ordinances. Notice was given of a public hearing on this day whereby the town council would consider the passage of the following proposed ordinances. Ordinance 15-001, an amended ordinance establishing Article V of Chapter 32 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of North Providence. Okay. To be entitled Establishment of a Tax Exemption and Tax Stabilization Agreement for property located at 200 High Service Avenue, North Providence, Rhode Island, a.k.a. Our Lady of Fatima Hospital. This was from the tax stabilization agreement we put together with Fatima Hospital, and basically, the approval of this ordinance will correct the main issue of one of the properties. Did you want to comment on anything?
The ordinance committee had a meeting on the 29th of April and recommended passage of this ordinance.
Okay, so I have Councilman
Mr. President,
Councilman?
I wasn't on this council when this agreement was made.
Yep.
Is there any documentation besides the agreement that I could be furnished with? You know, the agreement says that they're spending $90 million on 4 hospitals and over a 4-year period. How much of that money is actually getting spent at Fatima? And I noticed it's a 10-year deal. But most importantly, I've noticed 2 things that I have some questions on. So how did we come up with the $540,000 first-year payment? Looking at the property, I mean, St. Joseph's was a Catholic hospital, you know, nonprofit. This is now a for-profit entity. I mean, I commend them for taking the facility over. It's great to have the hospital in the community. But I'm just wondering how we came up with that figure and, you know, how much of a discount are we actually giving them, you know, on their taxes. And then there's also a Buy North Providence initiative in the agreement, and I'm just wondering what businesses in the town they've identified to buy from that they would be garnering goods and services from.
We had hearings on all that.
We have it all, it's just, there was months of negotiation on my file. So
I'm going to get you the file on it. But
Could we hold off on it?
Just to fill you in on a brief, I'll give you a brief summary. Fatima was a nonprofit hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So we were receiving pilot money from the state in lieu of tax dollars for them. So Councilman Catanzaro and I, being that it was in our district, we negotiated the deal to, they weren't going to come in unless we gave them a tax stabilization structure. And how we did that was the pilot money, the tax money, they started off with the $540. That's in lieu of the pilot money. So they made us whole for the first 3 years, and then we ramped it up from there.
Okay, so we never did an you know, I don't know, a study and assessment of what that facility would garner in taxes?
Yeah. Yes, we did.
What was, does anybody know offhand what the number
These were,
was?
Raymond, these were months of negotiations. This didn't happen like at one meeting. This went on for months. It might even go on close to a year.
Okay.
So,
It originally started, just to let you know how much we did end up negotiating, they offered originally like $150,000. And so we went from there, we pulled out tangibles, and there were state laws that were written, the initiative for buying North Providence, you know, buying local. So they were really low originally. So what we ended up with was a considerable amount more than what they originally came in with.
But there is a study behind this that would show what the taxes would be in year one had we not offered them this.
Yeah.
And we taxed them at full value as to where they are.
Well, the reason why this had to happen too was Fatima Hospital was like 2 months away from going bankrupt. So it was kind of, you know, do we let the hospital go belly up, or do we put this deal together? And also, you know, the workers at the hospital, which I think, what was it, 80% live in the town, and wanted this deal to go through. Did you want to add, Mayor? Yeah.
Maybe I could answer just a couple of things for Councilman DeStefanis. I think when we had, it was brought to our attention we were getting the pilot money, and I think it was, it was my opinion, and the council agreed that as long as we could continue for the first couple of years to get that pilot money that we were getting from the state, as opposed to trying to, how can you say, handcuff a new business and put them into a situation where they couldn't make it, and give them the opportunity to get started. I think there's close to 300 people that work at that facility that live in town. They shop here. And quite honestly, it's my opinion, I think that this town and the townspeople need that hospital to be here more than they need to be here. So try to put together the best possible program so that the taxpayers would be made whole, so to say. I think it was a pretty fair agreement. Look, Cody, if you got more money or tried to, maybe, but I think that would have been very, very dangerous, in my opinion, coming from the business sector.
Okay.
So any other questions? I would, be free to answer any other questions.
Any other questions? Is there anyone in the audience to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone to speak in favor of this ordinance? Is there anyone to speak against this ordinance? Anyone to speak against this ordinance? Is there anyone to speak against this ordinance? Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve ordinance 15-001.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilman Giusti. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to take one more and then go to the mayor's items. Item number 17, outdoor dining and entertainment. Town council to consider the approval of an outdoor dining and outdoor entertainment license from Lewis Quisset Country Club, 1 Overlook Circle, North Providence. Just please state your name for the record.
Cheryl Hodgson.
Thomas Zolano.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for him?
Is this the first time that you had an outdoor license?
For entertainment?
Yeah. Just, tell us what kind of entertainment you'll have.
It's like a one-person acoustical guitar. Usually if we run entertainment at all, it's from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Hearing no other questions, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this license pending all necessary requirements.
So moved.
Second.
A motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilwoman Catanzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Good luck. You guys have it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Okay. Item number 2, executive session. Mayor Lombardi requests to convene into executive session pursuant to RIGL Section 42-46-4 and 42-46-5 for the purposes of a discussion and possible vote regarding the acquisition of 1 Stair Avenue, North Providence, Rhode Island.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I was just caught up chatting. If I could request that, because Mr. Rodeo was here, could we put that item concerning the OPEB before this executive session? Is that okay?
No problem. Okay, we're going to go to item number 5, OPEB. Mayor Lombardi requests discussion and possible vote on a draft ordinance and a trust agreement relating to the other post-employment benefits. Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, I'll be recusing from that item.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be recusing from that item also.
Thank you.
So sorry.
Joe. So, Mr. Chairman, we're here this evening to discuss this trust to address our OPEB obligations. I think it's something that we need to address as quick as possible. Mr. Rodeo is going to explain to you the benefits for the town and to the town, and hopefully you would support this method of, financial, that will help bring us to financial stability. Thank you. Joe?
How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, members of the council. As the Mayor mentioned, my name is Joe Rodeo Jr. and I serve as special counsel to the town. The reason that the mayor called me in this instance is because this winter, the town received communication from the auditor that indicated that $250,000 in 2 fiscal years, last year and this year apiece, totaling $500,000, was going to have to be booked back to general revenue. And that's money that the mayor presented and the council approved in the budget to be earmarked for the other post-employment benefits. To give you a little bit more background on that, hopefully quickly enough without putting anybody to sleep, the reason the auditor mentioned to the town that those measures would have to be taken was because of changes to the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. Those are GASB Rules 43 and 45. Those changes were just presented this previous summer and just approved in the fall. So it obviously came as a surprise to the auditor, but he had to inform the town that if a trust isn't put into place by the end of this fiscal year, and the $500,000 already approved and earmarked for other post-employment benefits liabilities aren't moved into that trust, then that money has to be moved back into general revenue. There are a few other pressing issues that this is really important for the town. The first is GASB generally. If you read the minutes of the meetings, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board has indicated that they're going to continue taking an aggressive approach with looking for funding of these liabilities. One of those which is going to be to put that fund balance, the unfunded liability, right on the balance sheet. Now, those of us who know municipal finance and the workings of a municipality know that that's not a technical change, but it's one that is concerning to people, and the question is, what impact will that have on bondholders and on the bond market? And the other reason is that I'm sure everyone here on the council is familiar with the Rhode Island Retirement Security Act. And that's well known for pension reform, and it's also well known to locally administered pension plans for the studies that were done related to those pension plans. What's much less discussed is that there's a statutory obligation in there for the study commission to look at OPEB liabilities, to inquire with municipalities that have OPEB liabilities as to what the funding plan is and whether a trust is in place, those sorts of mechanisms. So if the town council sees fit, along with the auditor's recommendation, to get a trust in place, and then they'll be ahead of the curve when the state comes and asks questions about funding those liabilities. Very quickly, a trust is important because it would take that first $500,000 and in future earmarked dollars, it would protect it from any creditor claims against the town. And that's the fundamental reason why the auditor is required to move those into the trust, because if a creditor could have access to those monies, then they wouldn't really be solely earmarked for OPEB liabilities. And so that's also a benefit, obviously, to labor, who has been promised these benefits in their collective bargaining agreements, and this will protect them from any creditor claims against them. They'll be in a trust. If there were any fiscal urgency, that money could only be used strictly for paying the other post-employment benefits. And the other important feature of the trust, once it's put in place, is that those contributions are irrevocable. So once they go into the trust, as I mentioned before, that's the only purpose that they can be used for. Now, in the ordinance and trust document that you have in front of you, the mechanics work so that the finance director is the trustee with day-to-day responsibilities over those funds. And that includes investing the money, transferring it to pay the benefits when necessary, and those sorts of things. Along with that, in the ordinance is a 3-member board of trustees who meet to oversee the funds and carry out a fiduciary duty to make sure that the funds are invested correctly, and they give instructions to the trustee to make sure the right professionals are in place. It's held by a custodian who's monitoring those funds. And ideally, what you'd have is that the benefits that are paid, mainly health care benefits, would flow through that trust agreement. And that brings us to the last part and the most important feature of adopting an OPEB trust, aside from protection from creditors. And that's the fiscal impact that the adoption of a trust has on those outstanding liabilities. If you look at the July 1st, 2014 actuarial valuation that the actuary performs for the town's liability, there's currently a $63,164,377 unfunded liability. That carries with it a $5.4 million ARC payment and annual required contribution. Now, $3.15 million of those benefits are healthcare benefits paid out to retirees. So that means in order to pay a full ARC with that figure, there's an outstanding contribution of $2.2 million, just over $2.2 million that would need to go into that fund. However, because there is no trust in place and no funding plan in place, that's based on a number of actuarial assumptions, most importantly, a 4% discount rate, which can't be increased because the town's not earmarking any funds to it. In that same actuarial valuation that the actuary performed for the town, they gave a sample calculation, what would happen if that discount rate were increased to 7% with an OPEB funding plan in place. The number drops from $63 million to just over $47 million. And the ARC comes down from $5.4 million to $4.59 million. And that would leave you in excess of benefits just about $1.45 million on top of the benefit payments in order to fund the full ARC. Now, that's an example that uses a full funding plan, so with the $500,000 that's earmarked, you won't quite get there, but you'll get much closer to that number. And that's really another important part of putting a trust in place, is that the actuaries know that you're reserving these monies, they can only be used for that purpose, and you start to identify what the real number of that liability is. For all of those reasons, the mayor is asking the council to consider this ordinance for adoption of the OPEB trust. Take any questions that the council has.
No, I have questions.
I have questions, Mayor. I'm talking to my council president. I got no questions. No, I think my clients heard what I had to say, man. No, they're not. These are my clients. They are.
No, I was asking him a question. I was asking him a question.
Usually, Mr. President, any legal counsel for any town council usually should be sitting over the front, so whenever there's a question asked, everyone can hear it.
No, I've been to many council meetings, Mayor. I usually sit over here. I don't ask you what your lawyer tells you.
Well,
I have one question.
Yes.
The 7% that you indicated, is that the return on the investment?
It's actually not. So, but you raise a good point, which is there's a benefit to the return. The 7% is the discount rate. That's what the actuary uses when they look out into the future at all the future benefit payments, and they present value what the current unfunded liability is. So currently, when they calculate all the next 30 years worth of payments, they come up with a total. They use that discount rate to get it back to a present value. When you have a funding plan in place, they can increase the discount rate and it shrinks the present value. But you make a good point, which is when you have assets in the fund, they can also attach and assume return on those assets, which continues to shrink that. So if you were to get to a 7% discount rate, the return on the funds that are invested would further shrink that annual required contribution from the numbers that I gave you.
Okay. Thank you.
So if I understand this correctly, the finance director is the trustee of the funds.
Correct.
3-member board hires a custodian.
Correct.
Is that set up audited by, is that set up in, are those funds included in the audit that we as a council hire, say, Savetti, or is that something
Correct.
that the auditor general is going to oversee?
That's correct. And in fact, if you look at GASB 67 and 68, which govern the pension, and obviously the pension is very healthy today, those actuarial statements and the liability that's reflected on those are going into the financial statement now. Under 67 and 68, they're going to be going onto the balance sheet in the next 2 years. The same thing further down the road will be happening with the OPEB fund.
And then the investment of the funds, is there a certain type of investment vehicle that these funds have to be put into, or is it the trustee's determination as to where he feels they should go?
The trustee takes direction on investments from the board on an asset allocation, would be the first step involved in that. The trust document itself allows for any equities or legal investments, but the board would give the direction as to how those are.
Who determines the board?
The board in the ordinance is 2 appointments from the mayor and 1 from the council.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah, Councilman.
This board, once it's formed, do they hire an outside firm
An outside firm,
to advise them on the investment of this?
an outside investment advisor?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's up to them whether they want to. It protects their fiduciary duty to rely on a professional investment consultant to make sure they're getting sound financial advice.
What's the cost on something like that, and where does that come from?
That would go out to bid, and it comes out of the funds themselves, the trust fund.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to entertain a motion to send this, the trust and the ordinance to our Finance Committee and our Ordinance Committee so we can work on getting this ordinance drafted. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 4, preservation of historic records. Mayor Lombardi requests discussion and possible vote on the preservation of historic records.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, I think this might have been discussed a year or two ago, and I'd like to have Ralph address the council. We have some issues with the preservation of the records. I think we're a little antiquated. You have the funds, and we'd like to start to address some of the issues, especially in the clerk's office with some of the record keeping. Ralph, if you would.
Good evening, Council.
Hi, Ralph. My computer's working, thank you.
Okay, this is a two-part request regarding preservation of records. One is the repair and upgrade of the cameras that protect the records. We've had numerous accounts of missing files. In September of 2013, I reported in front of the council and then to the finance subcommittee requesting of funds of $6,300 for the repair and upgrade of the cameras that are located in the clerk's office, at the collection window, and in the town vault. At that time, one camera in the vault was dead, and two others were cutting in and out on a monthly basis. We would go to the system, and they would be off. The request at that time was rejected by the financial subcommittee. However, now, both vault cameras are dead, and there's only one in the lower vault that actually works. Also, the collection window camera is not in the correct type to perform the view that it needs to view of people who are exchanging data between the collections office. It's used for viewing the exchange of currency and paperwork that passes between the clerks and the public. It is also unknown as to why these type of cameras were installed in the town hall, but prior to our division involvement over 7 years ago, the good news is the camera server that also needed to be replaced at my last request, the police replaced their camera server with forfeiture money that was not Google money. We were able to add, with the fiber plant that was installed in town, we were able to add the cameras here onto there, so we did not have to buy a camera server to replace at the town hall. In order to have reliable cameras for the safety of our property, taxpayers, and employees, I'm requesting that you approve the expenditure from the records fee 10% account for the sum not to exceed $4,700 as it's part of technology upgrades for the safekeeping of town records. With those funds, we will replace the 3 broken cameras, replace the power supply, upgrade the other 2 remaining cameras. We will add a face view of the people that come in and out at collections. We're going to add a camera on the record storage room in the basement and add a camera on the record storage room up here on the 3rd floor. Those 2 records have no indication whatsoever of any security. And then we will replace all the cables and connectors. We'll be performing all the labor ourselves, which will save us about $1,456 there. So that's the camera side of it. There's been numerous times where the clerk and the assessor has noticed that there's been information missing from the vault, and there's just the way the traffic and the amount of traffic that flows through that facility, through those doors, they can't keep track of what's in there. All right, so that's part of the initial, my first request. The second request, if you look at the pictures, this is only about 15 minutes worth of looking around the vault, the entire vault, these pictures that you see here. A lot of the records are degrading. They're used by dozens of people per day. Mary Ann could probably give a better account of how many people are in there. But their pages are missing, pages are destroyed. What we'd like to do is start digitizing those records. We originally looked into this a couple of years ago. The cost was dramatic because we had no manpower to do it ourselves. It was in around the $240,000, $250,000 range to have it done. So we re-looked at it with the implementation of our GIS coordinator. She has the knowledge and the ability to do this. And then we discussed ways to do it, how we can get it done. We talked about taking kids from the high school intern programs. Though you not need to be an expert, you do need some training. Nicole, our GIS coordinator, has done this work in the past as well. She's capable of performing this operation. But the biggest thing is she has the ability to coordinate and manage the project by adding thoughts to seek high school students that are in need of performing functions like as part of their senior projects. We plan on also seeking out the Town Historics Commission and the Town Library. They have people in their historic side that are willing to help. They may have trainable people to assist with performing this function. I will also be applying in July for a federal grant from the National Historic Publications and Records Commission in hopes we could be awarded funding to help professionally complete some of the process. They award grants for communities in October of every year. So if we put in something for July, hopefully we can get something awarded for next October. Because of our funding limitations, we also need to determine what is more urgent to digitize. It is clear by the concern of the clerk and the assessor that the items in the vault are most critical. So there's where we plan to start, in the main vault where people come in and out of. The vault up here and the vault in the basement isn't as accessible to people. That's usually town employees that seek out those records. So it is clear we wanted to start with that. If we either did this project ourselves or hire a company to do it, we still regardless will need the hardware to continue the records on a daily basis. The purchasing of digital scanning hardware. The same hardware is used to scan past documents as well as current documents. So even if we were to pay somebody to digitize the whole system, we would still need the hardware today so that it would be continued on by the GIS coordinator in the clerk's office to digitize everything that comes in as of today. This hardware is already compatible with our existing town servers, and though we do have storage space on our servers to begin this project, it will likely require us to add storage in the future as we input more data, and this has already been taken into consideration as we've begun to plan out our upgrades to the town servers that we plan on replacing for 2017. So we are, whether we do proceed with digitization of records, we want to have the storage for when that time comes. It needs to be reminded that this project that we want to start is a multi-year project. It's not, I'm not coming here asking for money to say that the whole project's going to get completed. The speed of completion will be solely based upon the funding. The more we spend, the faster we can get our records done. There are many options in consideration when purchasing this type of hardware, as well as private digitalization services if so desired. So there is no way I can come up with project cost figures without at least having a starting baseline about how much I can spend. So after some long research, I feel we can purchase the hardware and begin the actual digitization process with a dollar amount of $35,000. After the first year, we can reevaluate how many records were completed each week, how many man-hours it took, how many interns or students we were able to use, and whether funds will be available to continue as we are funded to service to come in and complete sections of the files. So I'm requesting the council to approve the expenditure of up to and not exceeding $35,000 for the beginning process of digitalization of town records. No items, services will be purchased without following all town purchasing rules, and if I feel we are underfunded and cannot complete the beginning process with the allotted amount of money, then I will not proceed any further or purchase any equipment.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Ralph, as far as the cameras go, can we use any of the Google money for that since it's security?
I did, after it was turned down from the Finance Committee, I did bring that to the police department's request. I'm not sure exactly if Chief Malini had submitted the request or spoke to them on the phone. He spoke to him on the phone, and it was deniable based on that it wasn't considered completely police-related.
And my second question is, the GIS girl, you're not going to take her away from what she's doing?
No, we've have her on several different projects right now. So it will be, and that's why we think, especially over the summertime, it'll be more of a coordination that she'll be in charge of than actually physically digitizing the records. She'll be the one managing it. So she'll be the one scheduling with the students.
She'll still be doing her layers that she's doing now.
Correct. Yes.
Just one point of information. That account, I said to be corrected, but I think that account right now has $265,000 for the 10% account. We've been getting a number of requests for this. People that come in and do the title searches. You look through some of the books, some of the deeds are missing. We're not keeping track of it. So I think you really need to support starting somewhere, but just to let you know, there'll be no cost to the taxpayers. That's what this 10% account is for the, to preserve the historical records. I think this is a no-brainer at this point. So you need to consider supporting it or setting a dollar amount. I think Ralph, you look for 35, 37. Maybe we got to start somewhere, and that's why we thought we would come back to you again to see if you would support this preservation.
Ralph, what the 35,000 encompasses the cameras, the hardware, everything?
The 35 is strictly for the digitization part. The cameras were 47, not to exceed 47.
What's the annual cost of the storage of the digital records?
There's no annual fee because we host it all on our own servers, and we have served, because of our fiber plan, we have storage in multiple locations, our own storage in multiple locations. So God forbid if there was a fire at the data center at the public safety complex, all the town's records are also stored on a server elsewhere in town. So and then certain files are actually stored in Mendon, Mass as well, which we only pay. Those are only file servers, not all our pictometry and everything. So that costs us like $1,000 a year to store that stuff.
I know this is off topic, but I know the police chief had mentioned about dash cams and lapel cameras for the officers. Is that the same type of storage that they would utilize?
It's the same type of storage they would utilize, yes. We haven't gotten to the technical aspects of their data yet. We have some questions written out to the dash cam people to find out how many gigs of data on average a police officer would use to see if they can handle it.
Okay.
They have a new server and storage data. That was paid by Google money. It was about $290,000 last year. So even right at the beginning, they probably have a good couple of years worth of data. Hopefully, they can store on their own. The difference is, and I know where we might be trying to figure out, if we don't have to pay for the storage, they do. We can store it on theirs. CGIS and the FBI is very, very strict. When we purchased that police department network, you wouldn't believe this. We have a server rack, and in the data center is a server rack 2 inches apart. Police network, our network. We now currently have to replace what they call a 3-layer switch. It's about $10,000. The company we purchased that we deal with goes, why would you have to buy one of those? You just bought one, it'll perform that whole function. The FBI said absolutely not. Anything that stores police records, solely police connectivity. We have a fiber link between their firewall and our firewall for Munis only, and that had to get approved by the FBI. Inspected by the FBI, so unfortunately, no matter what they purchase for data storage or hardware, we can't share it.
So just to,
Well, you had stated that for now, the storage is sufficient, but you may have to add storage later. So what would the cost be to add storage?
Well, it's hard to tell because we're not expecting it until 2017 to have to up the storage on it. But on average, so when you think of it as a home computer, you think of like a 1 terabyte drive. But the way we look at it, it's actually 7 1 terabyte drives because our data writes to 7 drives at a time in case other drives fail.
So if we did every record downstairs with speed, could you host all of that data right now?
Right now, no. If we did, we would probably need storage area network device of maybe about $3,000 in order to handle that kind of data.
And then you said originally that years ago when you talked about this, it was 200 and something thousand. That was to actually hire a company?
That was to hire a company.
What would it cost? I mean, have you looked into what that cost would be today?
No, I don't think it would be much different. I did do some research online and reached out to Plymouth, Massachusetts, Keene, New Hampshire, who just did it. I tried to pick communities that are comparable to us in size by population. Problem is, I don't know exactly what they store for data. Keene, New Hampshire just did it for $175,000. They did everything but deaths and births. So they did their whole
state thing.
Right, so that's probably why they didn't do it either. It's a state.
If we hire kids, high school kids, and we hire historical, we're gonna pay these people, right?
Well,
I'm asking, I don't know.
For some of them have to do it for part of their senior project and their capstone and all that stuff.
Well, the reason I'm saying that, because you gotta figure their cost in and everything. I mean, $175,000, you know what I'm saying? Are we close? Are we far away? Are we?
Well, I don't think we pay for internships, do we?
No, I don't think so, no. The school department pays 2 computer interns. They pay them $10 an hour, and I think they work about 10 hours a week.
Have you looked at, like, I don't know, colleges to see, what schools, New England Tech, I don't know, offer a GIS program that maybe they could send their students in to give a hand?
That's what we were hoping. So we were not just looking at our school per se, but you're right, students in general, whether it be New England Tech or...
The last guy we hired, the last fellow we hired, he came out of New England Tech. #1 guy.
Ralph, one more question. Where would we get the 4,800 for the cameras?
Well, that would be part of that same account.
But
it literally
preservation
of records, because the cameras literally are on the records themselves.
Okay, excuse me, did I hear you say, Ralph, that that was for the tax assessor's office, the 4,700?
That would be for replacing the cameras in the vault itself.
Okay.
The collection window camera that shines on that views on the window of the public exchanging currency and documents between the collection window. And then up here on the third floor, there's a storage, record storage room, and then there's one in the basement near the assessor's office.
Okay, and that's the, at the clerk's office, the collection window at the town clerk's office?
Correct.
You're talking about?
No, the collection.
At the, okay, that's
The
what I
one
wanted
that's
to be
on
sure
the,
of.
The one that's on the clerk's office is a functioning camera.
That one's working, okay. I just wasn't 100% certain if the recording fees account, I think for almost all the items you mentioned, that the 10% account would apply for document preservation, and those cameras are certainly protecting our documents, and the technological upgrades for document preservation. I don't know if document preservation legally would include tax bills at the tax collector's office. That's the only one I have a question about.
Alice, we would most definitely check that, but I think the last time it was questioned, I thought it was allowable. And while I'm on that, the only other thing I would like to mention to this council, that account is increasing anywhere from $22,000 to $25,000 per year. So, again, I think if you would agree that we start to address this problem, and if you look at some of those pictures, that's only the tip of the iceberg. If you took
I agree. It needs to be done in its proper use. My question is just, certainly for the clerk's office and for the other areas of the town hall where those records are stored. However, it does say for document preservation, I just don't know if a camera at the tax collector's office is a legal use of those funds, and that may be one camera you're talking about. I don't know. I do think for everything else you mentioned,
we're not
it would
talking about a lot of
fall under
money.
it. So if you
You
can,
have to purchase the camera and a license for the camera, which is another $100. So you're looking at about $490 per camera.
okay,
So if it's
so,
a $500, I can guarantee you this, that if it's a $500 difference, to make sure that we're so-called legal, then the camera that will be shining on that collector's office will not be bought with part of the $265,000.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the council with this item?
I think maybe all the information that he has is sent to the Finance Committee. I'm in agreement that they do need to be updated. Tattered books, and it's really, sad. But if it goes to the Finance Committee, I wouldn't have a problem if anyone had any other questions. But I am in favor of doing it.
Any other questions before we?
I agree. I support it. I think it's essential
can
to
I-
do, and it's timely.
Can I just ask a question? Because you know me, I like to get things done yesterday. So, no, all kidding aside, what other questions could there be concerning, the preservation of these records besides maybe a $500 camera that, that we may misuse, so to say, I hate to use that terminology, of funds for one camera on the tax collector's office? I think, to my opinion, you need to set a bottom line figure. Ralph can, if you want him to come here and once a month and report back to you as to how he's utilized the money and, the cost of it, at least allow him to go out to bid to start to address this. We are so far behind in this preservation and the protection of the records. If you talk to some people that come into that clerk's office just doing the title searches, and they go to a page and it's missing.
A lot of, all due respect, Mayor, a lot of that problem is because of title searches. That don't-
Yeah. Well, no, but
Pages
the
out.
point is, Mary Ann, if there were cameras there, they wouldn't be able to pull them out.
Mr. President, we could, again, we could give Ralph the authority to move forward, and then we could ask Ralph to come to the Finance Committee quarterly.
Yeah.
To give us an update, and he also stated that once he gets moving, he's not gonna spend any money if it looks to be outside of the realm that he's originally thought for value as at that 35. So prior to him moving forward, we can give him the authority to investigate further, come to the finance committee, give us an update. It's all on how you want to do this.
Hey, listen, I've heard, from pretty much the general consensus is everyone's in favor of it. I just want to, I wanted some feedback, so. Go ahead, Al.
Mr. President, I just have one question, Ralph. I just want to ask you, you're looking for the first year for startup money to get moving forward, $35,000 and approximately, let's say, $4,200 for cameras. Is that correct?
Correct.
Was there anything else that was part of your overall proposal that you were looking for? Okay, I just wanted to be sure we were clear on those figures. Thank you.
I'm going to make a motion that we allow Ralph to go out to bid and move this project forward. And then once you get everything, report back to the finance committee as to exactly what's going on.
Do we want to set a bottom line figure?
I think the 35,000 plus the 4,200.
47 or 42?
It was 42 minus
42
500.
because of the one camera that's in question.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Councilman Juicy's put a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Before we go into executive session, I want to get the 4 business licenses out of the way. People waiting.
I don't know if he's sticking around, but the item
Number we
of the
on?
cameras that's on here,
17.
the website that's on here, we never had the meetings. Because you were running, I was away.
18.
So I just want to continue. I don't know if he's sticking around. So I just want to continue it.
All right. So I'm going to go to number 18, vendor license. Town council to consider approval of a vendor license for Rachel Bamber to sell flowers and plants on Mother's Day weekend on May 9th, 10th, and 10th, 2015 at 1421 Middle Spring Avenue, North Providence. Hello.
Hello, Rachel Bamber.
Okay.
How are you?
Yeah, you come here for us every year. Does anybody have
Yes.
any questions for Ms. Bamber?
Where's 1421 Middle Spring Ave?
The corner of Woodwood Road and Mill Spring Avenue.
Okay.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made by Councilman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Good luck.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys
good
very
luck
much.
to you.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thanks.
Item number 19, Town Council to consider approval of a vendor license for Amy Hodge of B.J. Allen Company, DBA Phantom Fireworks at 1525 Smith Street, North Providence. Ms. Hodge?
Yep. My name's Amy Hodge.
Okay, everything's...
This is second one this year.
Where is this on Smith Street? What?
In the village of Fruit Hill.
The where?
It's the
where the
plaza
gym-
that has the gym in it.
Oh, the gym
Yeah.
is up on Smith Street.
Oh, yeah, okay.
My only question is that because it's a village zone, would fireworks be okay to set up a tent in a village zone? Does
We're
it
doing
comply with
inside, in
zoning?
the store.
Say that
We're doing
again?
a store. We're not doing a tent.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a tent.
No. We have one on Middle Spring Avenue for a tent.
On Middle Spring, we already did that one a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So you're inside the building?
What's that?
You're inside a building?
Yeah, we'll be
Oh, all
inside
right,
the building.
Which building is it? I mean, I know it's the gym, but is there a vacant property there right now?
Yeah, he has Emily's Diner that was open, and then he had the place that was signing up the gym members, and he said whichever one, Joe Romano, he said whichever one is empty at the time, he'll give me.
So it's the ones that are going this way?
On the right, yeah.
Perpendicular
Yeah.
to Smith Street?
Yes.
Okay.
How long are you planning on being open, like start to finish?
June 18th to, wait, hold on a second.
July
June
10th?
10th to July 10th, it's a store, different dates. And then the sale dates, like it's only gonna be a couple weekends before, like nothing Monday through Thursday, just to get the advertisement out there.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay,
Fire marshal already approved it,
yeah.
looks like.
Okay, I'd like to, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this pending all necessary requirements.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilman Giusti. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? You guys have it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 20, peddler license. Town council will consider the approval of a peddler license for Jennifer L. Wolfinger, DBA Wolfies, Freezer Delights, 33 Atlantic Boulevard, North Providence. Please state your name for the record.
Jen Wolfinger. It's spelled wrong too on there.
Yeah, I thought so.
Where on Atlantic Boulevard is that?
What'd you say?
Where is that located on Atlantic Boulevard?
I think it's gonna be a truck.
No, it's a truck.
Oh, I'm sorry,
It's a
okay.
novel
Yeah,
Mexican
all
truck.
right. No.
Looks good.
I did bring 2 other BCIs with me. I was told that helpers with these.
Does this need holiday license to do a truck? Or does the truck just do 7 days a week because of the peddler's license? Okay.
Okay, with that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved.
Second. Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Guys have it. Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck to you.
All right, we're going to go to number 2, executive session. Mail and body request to convene an executive session.
Where you want to start? This one.
She's 21.
All right.
She's 21.
All right. All right. Item number 21, outdoor party and band request. Town council to consider granting permission to Jane Porter of 12 Borah Street for a band to perform in her yard for her 25th anniversary party on June 20th, 2015. Please just state your name for the record.
Jane Porter.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And we have a 1-year-old, so that's...
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We work hard.
What time are you planning?
I'm going to actually defer this to the councilman in the district, so we have a couple questions for Councilwoman at large.
Well,
I did want to ask if you've notified the people who are in proximity, the abutters that you're going to be
Yes, we
having,
were
and
planning on
wondering if you
inviting
invited them.
Yes.
Usually, that's typically what happens when someone wants to have a party in a residential, in one of the neighborhoods. They invite everyone in proximity to their home, and it works out fine.
Right.
So I just wanted to ask if they were in agreement.
Yes, everyone knows about, we're having the big party, and everyone's just waiting for me to say, give the okay, so...
Terrific.
We're excited.
And I think you were saying you were going to hold it from what time until when?
Well, it's a family party, so everyone sort of starts showing up around 2, but we weren't really, we're planning on renewing our vows around 4, and we're serving a light dinner around 5, and we'd like the band to start around 6 and break up and be gone by 10.
Okay. Sounds terrific.
Councilman DeStefano, anything? Or?
No, she answered my
And
question.
you're all invited.
Thank you.
See?
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this.
What day is,
not too big. No,
what
no.
day is June 20th?
Saturday.
Saturday?
Keep everyone happy. See?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilman DeStefano. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Have fun.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again.
Okay. Item number 2, executive session. Mayor Lombardi requests to convene into executive session pursuant to RIGL Section 42-46-4 and 42-46-5 for the purposes of discussion and possible vote regarding the acquisition of 1 Steer Avenue, North Providence. I have a motion to convene into executive session?
So moved.
Second? Motion's
Second.
been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll be back.
They're all combined here. Just want to see the round.
But the best seat in the house, right at the end where you have extra room.
You want to switch?
I love that.
Concerning, if you listen to Stephen, we're in the hot zone here. If somebody comes around that corner, we're going. His feeling is over there, he can see him.
You're safe with this crew. Well, that was a good one. I'm so glad they bought that, 'cause that's dangerous. Especially when it's spicy.
Okay.
That was a good.
Yeah, right, I agree.
Yeah, I'd rather see it. Do I have to make a motion to convene back into regular session?
He doesn't have a written agreement.
I'd like to entertain a motion to convene back into regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 3. Open session, report out votes or sealing of minutes. Reconvene back into open session for the council president to report out votes taken in executive session or entertain a motion to seal the votes if applicable pursuant to RIGL sections 42-46-4, 42-46-5, and 42-46-7.
So moved.
I'd like to entertain a motion to seal the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilman Giusti. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, and for now, I'm going to make a motion to seal the vote.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro and seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Let's have it. Thank you. Item number 6. Trash removal. Mayor Lombardi requests discussion on trash removal. This item was continued from the April 7th, 2015 regular town council meeting. Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, if you could put that off till the June meeting also. We haven't got the numbers for you yet.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to continue this item to the June meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Giusti, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 22, Salvation Army. Received a communication from Luigi Del Ponte of 1900 Smith Street for discussion concerning the parking at Salvation Army and surrounding areas. We've also received a diagram submitted by Mr. Del Ponte. Mr. Del Ponte.
Yes, I'm Luigi Del Ponte, 1900 Smith Street, North Providence.
Hi, Louis.
Hi everybody. I wanna apologize for the rough. Too loud? I wanna apologize for the rough sketch I made. I did that in 20 minutes, and when I got a call from the clerk officer, I made a little better copy. But had I had a little time, I would have got measurements of the road, measurements of the vehicles, and the serious problems we have there. Did you get a copy of the thing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, those little things that look like locusts, those are cars, all these dark things. And you got a street here, you got Smith Street. They park on both sides of the street. In the Salvation Army, if you'll notice where I got the Salvation Army parking lot, there's a truck that goes there every day from 11 to about 2 in the afternoon. You would think somebody would have the sense to get that truck to go out after it closes or just before it opens. Because people with the lot filled, they still try to get in there, and they go halfway in and they have to back out, and there's traffic coming up and down Smith Street, which causes traffic jams. There have been a number of accidents in that area, and I counted where, besides the parking lot and parking everywhere else on Smith Street, in front of everybody else's business, and also on the side street where residents park their cars, there's anywhere from 35 to 45 cars, especially on the Fridays and on the Mondays. Now, during the wintertime when we had the snowstorms, You take I didn't get the measurements of the street, Smith Street itself. I don't know, would you say it's 30 feet, let's say it's 30 feet. A car's about 5 feet across. A bus maybe might be 8 feet wide. You got two bus stops, one on the corner of my street, Ferncliff, and one directly across the street near Statistics. Exactly the same. When you got two buses going this way, it takes the whole street. No cars can get through. With the snow that we had, you got construction equipment coming out, you got rescue vehicles, you got the fire trucks, everything. It's a very, very dangerous situation. I listed a number of things. Well, it's just a bad situation. They're parking in front of everybody's house also. There's nowhere to park. If you see this, all those dots are cars. And it's a dangerous situation. Now, when you got the rescue squad, wagon constantly go up and down Smith Street to go to those hospitals. There's going to be a very serious accident someday, and I hate to come back and say, yeah, I told you so. I wouldn't do that. But it's bad. Something has to be done about it. First of all, that Salvation Army should have never been put there. And I don't know if I blame my friend Sal Mancini for it, but they didn't realize the problems that it would, you know. I fought this situation for the last 15 years. Juicy knows. I have pictures where they look like a dump. People just dump their stuff all over the place. Maybe someday on another meeting I'll take the pictures. It should not be there. And then people come there and actually steal the stuff that people donate. You can see that. From my window you can see that. On Sunday morning they'll come and take things that people have donated. So, you know, you people are the brains of the outfit here. You should come up with some kind of a solution. There's something that's got to be done. I'd like to ask you a question. Does anybody know, do they pay taxes, the Salvation Army?
Yeah.
Does anybody know?
Well, they pay it on the building, I'm pretty
They
sure.
pay taxes?
I think so.
The building, I would think the building does.
Yeah, the
Property
building
taxes.
does, yeah.
Property tax?
The building you're talking about.
Well, the building.
The building is owned, the building is not owned by the Salvation Army, that's owned by,
No, it's owned by.
so they pay property tax.
Yeah, for the building, but the Salvation itself doesn't.
What
Well,
kind of tax?
they're a nonprofit. What would they pay?
They wouldn't pay taxes if they're a nonprofit.
So the point I'm trying to make is, what benefits does North Providence derive from that? When it causes all these problems, there have been a number of accidents there. Someday somebody's going to get killed there, believe me.
Though the Salvation Army, I guess the profits fund homelessness. People that are homeless and drug rehabilitation, so.
Alice Brady told me they do, but it's not the place to have a Salvation Army. They don't have enough parking area, and they park, like you see these dots here, those are all cars. I look at it every day, and especially on a Monday and Friday. If you people would go by there, you would see what I'm talking about. They park in front of everybody else's business. They park on the side streets where residents park. And it's awful. And these traffic jams, the traffic is held up all the time, and there have been many accidents there. I don't know what the solution is. Something's got to be done. It can't go on like this. I remember, what was that guy's name that was on the council league? He's not here anymore.
Joe Giamacco?
DeMarco? Well, he argued once, there's a guy who wanted to put a cigar store where your husband had his fruit store there, on Mill Spring Avenue. And he says, adamant, he says, we don't have enough parking places. And they had about 7 or 8 or 10 parking places. And I spoke up for the guy, and the council didn't pass it for him. Well, where the hell were they? Not you people, you weren't there. When they passed this, and there's 40 or 50 cars there, where did they park?
Across the street, isn't there a medical place with a big side lot?
Alpha
That
Surgical.
belongs to Alpha Surgical.
Right. Do they use that for parking?
They don't use it for anything. They got partial for Alpha Surgical.
Well, I think what we have to do, the last time we had some problems with the Salvation Army a couple of years ago when you came in, and then they put up the gate. We sent a letter to the owner of the Salvation Army or the gentleman that runs it or was affiliated. And we asked him to come in, and we went over some of the issues with him. And it seemed like it worked out because we haven't seen you in a while because they were doing things that weren't conducive to the neighborhood. So now the parking is...
There were different problems. Before,
Right.
it looked like a dump.
But they fixed it when we brought him in. So I think what we have to do is bring him in again and, or notify him of the issues that Mr. DePonte has brought to us.
Yeah, but there's no solution to this. There's too many cars. That's the problem. Too many cars. I mean, you look at this thing. Those black dots are cars. Actual cars that I see.
Well, that's a state road. We would have to ask the state to put up no parking signs.
They are blocking the bus stops. They are hampering rescue squads that go up and down, construction equipment during snow removal. All those. There isn't enough room when they park on both sides. Let's say the street is 30 feet wide. A car is 5 foot wide. That's 10 feet. A bus is what, 8 feet wide? You've got two buses coming at 16 feet. You don't have any room, so it's traffic jams there. You people are going to promise you're going to go by there on a Friday or Saturday or Monday. Just take a ride by, and you'll see what I mean.
Oh, I've seen
Now
it.
you see there on the side streets, on Smith Street, they actually even come, one guy parked in my driveway. I told him, you live here? He said, no, I'm just going to be about 15, 20. I said, get us the hell out of here.
You should have charged them, Lou. You should have charged them $5 an hour.
I mean, that's the nerve they got, you know? And they dump a lot of garbage in Alpha Surgical's lot. You know, people that wait there, they take buses there. A lot of people, God knows how many come by bus. These are just the cars. And go see a mess there. It's like a dump. It's not right.
What are the chances that we notify the owners of Alpha and then Salvation Army and ask them if they can do something and maybe make it a parking lot and the Salvation Army...
Call the major in charge of this Salvation Army?
Right, that's what I'm saying, and maybe they would tar the lot, make it a lot, they rent it for short money.
Why don't they rent that lot from the people or buy it?
That's what I'm saying.
Make it a parking lot for the Salvation Army.
Good idea.
But they won't go for it. But something's going to be done, and I promise you, I will be back if it isn't done. Something's going to be done.
Are there no parking signs right now anywhere in that area?
No.
Any restricted parking?
Yeah, and in my house,
Yeah.
I got resident parking only. I'll tell you why. I'm not privileged. I've had the rescue squad there 4 or 5 times for my wife and myself. In fact, in the month of January, I had the rescue for me. And I'm all right, but if they don't have anywhere to park and take a person that thinks he's having a heart attack or something like that, that's another bad situation. But they park also where I have resident parking. They park there. They don't care. They just do it.
Well, I know there's a state law, you can't park within 25 feet of any corner.
And listen, also, they block the bus stops every day, and they're not taxed. They block the entire bus stop on both sides. You gotta go by there. Take a ride by there. Friday or Monday or Saturday, and you'll see. And all in the side streets, they're all customers for the Salvation Army. Now, there are residents, that's all of the area they have to park is in front of their house. I know it's a street, and anybody can park. But where do they park? They've been paying taxes for years here.
Well, as far as blocking the bus stops, I mean, we could send correspondence to the police department and tell them that on Fridays and Saturdays, it's very congested area, and maybe if they patrol it a little bit more, you know, ticket the vehicles that are in the bus zones, but, yeah.
The bus has to stop a little further, and he blocks Turncliffe completely.
Right.
And you got people that are trying to come out there, they gotta wait for the bus. And to have 2 bus stops directly across from each other, I never heard of that in my life. How do you get 2 buses? There's room for that, but when these cars parked on both sides, you gotta look at it, you can't believe it, it's awful. And I had it up to here, I I was out of my window and I drew that first diagram fast. I did it fast. In 15, 20 minutes. Then I got a call from the clerk's office. I tried to do it a little better. But I would have done it more professional and had all kinds of measurements here. How wide the car is, how wide the buses are. You got plows that go by that are wide pieces of equipment. They can't go by each other. There's not enough room. How would everybody park on both sides?
Last time the people from the Salvation Army, the owners, came, you couldn't come that night.
What was that about?
It was after the first time you came. This was
Yeah,
probably
that
about...
was, how
That
they
was
just
garbage,
they threw
rats.
garbage and everything.
Yeah, so do you think we need to have them come here again, and you come the same night, and then we can...
Yeah,
all-
I'll have them come again, but I don't know if they'll be able to do, have the owner of that building come.
There's not, I don't think there'll be much they can do, I mean, other than if we send them a letter saying if they can communicate to their customers to be mindful of parking.
But where are they gonna park? Where are they gonna park?
I mean, they do have a little parking lot in the front, but
Yeah, it's not big
Well,
enough, that's the
listen,
problem.
in that parking lot,
Yeah,
it's little.
people,
park
they,
all
they,
over,
they
but
have no
there's about
respect
15 or
nowadays,
20
that's what it
cars
is.
out there. And there's only parking for about 7 or 8 cars.
First of all, the guy that owns the building's
There's
not
not
coming.
enough parking, that's the
He's a
problem.
councilman, that's all. He's got the means the same day as us.
If you call a major and they know there's not enough parking.
Mr.
The owner of
President.
the building, he's collecting his rent.
Go ahead,
I don't
Councilman.
know,
Yeah.
He don't care, he don't seem to care.
Mr. President, it might be helpful.
Yeah, get him in there too.
What might be helpful is to start a conversation with the owner of Alpha Surgical and the major to see if the Salvation Army might be able to rent some spaces in that lot, because it's the only available parking other than the street in that vicinity, and that may be it may be a possibility
In
to
addition
help.
to that, what they should do is put, where the
David.
bus stops are and a little further, no parking. Because then people don't care, they'll park anywhere, they don't care. You know, it's, they're not residents of North Providence.
Just ask him if they're
And I tell
interested
you,
in
they
renting
park
it.
on my side all the time. I give them a break, they usually, when we don't understand, they say,
Right,
So,
but
make sure you're out of there in 15 minutes.
Right, but if they had parking, designated parking for them, if the owner of Alpha Surgical would be willing to rent, that's a rather large lot, he doesn't use it all the time, I go by there almost every day.
So why don't
Well, maybe we
we...
could look into it for you.
I know I promised you we weren't gonna send any letters, but I think we got to on this, in this case. I told you we weren't gonna send any letters, but the only way we can get in touch with Alpha Surgical is by sending them a letter. You know what, I think I'll have...
And then send a letter.
All right, well, we have to send a letter for, you know,
Putting things in writing,
we have to put it in writing, but we will also, I'll have the clerk make a phone
I
call.
want to send a letter, then forget about it.
I promise you we would not send a letter, but we have to put it in writing.
I promise.
What are we asking?
We're gonna ask Alpha Surgical if they would be interested in renting the parking lot out, just to get the conversation started. And
You
we,
should get the owner, I mean, the major, I think the major that runs the Salvation Army.
we'll get, I'll let you know.
Residents around here that go and steal everything that's worth stealing. They steal it.
So what's the,
And one time they had cameras there.
Okay, so I'm gonna entertain a motion to send a letter and also a follow-up phone call to Alpha Surgical to see if they'd be interesting.
See you around Tuesdays, Wednesdays.
I know, trust me, I know. I told you we weren't gonna send a letter to see if we can get this, all rolling.
Okay, wait, well, one more item.
To send a letter to see if we can we're gonna send a letter to Alpha Surgical, see if they'd be interested in renting out the parking lot, just to get the conversation started.
Can we ask the
I'll
state?
second that.
Can we ask the state to erect signs that you can't park within 25 feet?
I think we should ask for a study in that area.
Or a study.
All right, so the first motion has been made by Councilman Giusti, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, and the second motion, Councilman Fiola.
To ask DOT to do a study?
State, I don't know who you would go to for this.
Yeah, it would be DOT.
DOT in the areas of Smith and Ferncliff.
I would give them parameters.
Yeah, what's the other?
East Staten, no, that's too far down. East Ferncliff,
Is it Byron?
Byron.
Byron. Very good.
Allison.
to do a study of the area.
Parking.
Neighboring, the Salvation Army. Give them their
And what's the study? Parking study?
Parking, yes. Parking on Smith Street on 44.
To the corner, is that what you're saying, Stephen? To 25 feet to the corner?
Yes.
Correct. That's where the bus stop is too. They shouldn't be parking there.
Okay, Councilman Field has a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Catanzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 23, Town Zoning Ordinance. Theodore G. Gorilli, Chairman of the North Providence Planning Board, requests the council to refer the issue of updating the town zoning ordinance to the Ordinance Committee so that the two bodies can work together to update, simplify, and improve said ordinance.
Mr. President?
Yes?
Oh, I had gone to this planning board meeting, and they wanted to have the ordinance committee go to one of their meetings. So the reason why it's on here is just so when you call your meeting, it had gotten referred to the ordinance committee. So the ordinance committee could meet at any time with them to,
Okay,
go
so-
over it together. So as long as it was in committee, they can do what they have to do.
Mr. President,
Councilman?
Yeah, just to refer
as
it.
chairman of the ordinance committee, and I don't know what my fellow members feel, but I know that I don't have the expertise on zoning. So for me to sit there and try to improve our town zoning ordinance would be a total waste of time. So I feel that what we should do is send a letter to the zoning committee and ask them to update the zoning ordinance and send us the changes that they would like to do. I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Then send the council or the ordinance committee?
Send a letter to the town zoning committee asking them to simplify and improve the zoning ordinance, and then send the changes to this council who can...
Should we go to ordinance first?
Right.
Why would you want to go to ordinance?
You'd have to, when you have to change the ordinance that's in place already?
Right.
Yes, that, it has.
Yeah, but I would hope that after they made all the changes on the ordinance itself, send it to this committee to send it to ordinance. I don't know. I mean,
Okay, so you want it to come back here first?
yeah, come back to you people first, and then,
You mean the full council?
yeah, come back to the full council to send it to the ordinance committee.
Is there a way to save a step?
I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know.
Yeah. I just want to clarify what the intentions of the planning board were that night. They know that they have to draft an ordinance, but because it's an ordinance, it has to go to the ordinance committee.
Right.
So to save that step, we're just referring the issue to the ordinance committee. So it's in your committee, so you can call a meeting at any time. When they have the draft ordinance, they can just send it to your committee. It doesn't have to come back to the council, then we have to vote on it to go to ordinance. As long as the issue is in your committee, you can have as many meetings as you need to.
Yeah, but they don't expect us, see, the way this reads, is that they expect us to,
I think it was probably just the way it was worded.
well, that's
You can
what I'm
still
going
send the letter asking for the draft ordinance to go to committee.
with. The only thing I would want in the ordinance committee is whatever change they want approved. That's all I would ever want to see. I don't feel as though I've got enough expertise in the ordinance, the zoning, in the zoning laws to sit there and make changes. And I don't know about, like I said, my other fellow members on the committee. I mean,
We'll invite them to come to our meeting then.
Right.
yeah, maybe that'd be better. I think that'd be better and explain it to them. All right, so I'm going to make a motion that we invite the zoning committee to come to the next ordinance committee meeting.
Right.
So we're gonna refer this issue to ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, second.
Okay, motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, so it's being referred to ordinance.
Yeah, I guess so.
All of that for nothing.
All right,
Could've
item number
saved-
24, zoning board, Brendan Snodgrass requests to appear before the council concerning a permanent spot on the zoning board. Mr. Snodgrass, how you doing?
How you doing, Mr. President?
Good, good.
Hi, Brandon.
Great. Hi, I'm gonna make it brief tonight. I know it's getting a little bit late, but I was just gonna express my interest in a permanent spot on the zoning board.
Brendan, can you just pick up the mic? Can't hear that
I was just gonna express my interest in a permanent spot on the zoning board. I've been an alternate for about 3 years now, and I've learned a lot of the do's, a lot of the don'ts, and of course, anyone will tell you I always detach my personal opinions when I do vote. I voted on about 6 occasions. I have close to perfect attendance. I've missed maybe 2 or 3 meetings, all because either I was out of town on business. One time the packet was sent to the wrong address. So, but anyway, I think, if any spots do open, we know they do open unexpectedly sometimes. Just respectfully request that you would consider me. And if that time does come, I'd like to come and speak in front of the council again, present you with a resume and, anything else.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming forward with that.
You bet. Any questions? Or?
No, but thank you
No,
for
but thank you.
volunteering.
Right on. Okay.
That's noble of you for coming out. I like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 25, educational issues. School committee member Rod De Silva would like to address the council about educational issues, to include the fair funding formula, per pupil expenditure, and park testing.
Hi, Rod.
I know, they all running together. I didn't put myself on the agenda as school committee. Rod De Silva. I am school committee member Rod De Silva, and colleagues in government, and Ms. Catanzaro, Manny, Mrs. Brady, and Dino. You were here, I think in 2008 when I wasn't on the school committee, during my hiatus, and I came here and talked about the resolution of the Mayoral Academy, which, you can't hear me? Is that better? Do I have to hold this? The resolution of the Mayoral Academy, which at the time you voted 7-0. So a couple of things I wanted to go over. At that time, if you recall, I talked about how that was going to be a hole in the budget and unsustainable. That day has come. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is per pupil expenditure, per pupil spending. And I have a prop. Per pupil spending is nothing more than a division algorithm. So the divisor is the number of students you have in your schools. The dividend is every single penny in your budget. And the quotient is called per pupil expenditure. So you really have to think about, well, what's in that dividend? Bus transportation of parochial schools. Basketball at the high school. Does that affect the 4th grader at Maryville? No. Pension salaries, obviously. Every single penny. Snow plowing. You name it, it's in there. And then the number that comes out here is called a per pupil expenditure. But it's a false number. It's certainly not what we pay to educate a child. Some kids, you pay a lot more, depending on their needs, and some, it's nowhere near that. If you were to take 200 children, if you were to take 200 children, who, let's say there's 200 children right now in parochial schools in the town of North Providence, and bring them all back, the divisor goes up by 200. The dividend would go down because we're not going to pay for their busing, their textbooks, and all the other things. So, and the quotient goes down. A bigger number, a smaller number, and our per pupil expenditure goes down despite the fact that we have 200 more kids in the schools. I mean, it won't be a wash, but the per pupil expenditure would go down. So the reason I talk about per pupil expenditure is because in what's coming next, the fair funding formula, the money follows the child. But it's not the per pupil expenditure, which is what we use to pay our charters with, because that's a false number. As a matter of fact, the per pupil expenditure that we pay tuitions is part of our dividend. I have a statement that I'm going to read because it's easier just to go through it this way. So, charter schools are new public schools funded with taxpayer dollars. They not only take all the state aid allocated for each student, but the student's home district, North Providence, has to send a large chunk of local money as well. And this is how charter schools are funded. Thus, charter schools force duplication. If you remember, when I wasn't on the school committee, and I came here, and you passed that resolution, which, by the way, it only passed 4-3. It was Chairman Carullo at the time who put the Mayoral Academy in place. And you all did the right thing. You were against it. And at the time, I told you that this is going to be a hole in the budget. It's difficult to see the wisdom in making such a large investment that results in duplication. The Department of Education suggests that it will cost almost $2 billion with a B dollars to bring all the state's public school buildings up to just good condition. And I had a conversation today with John McNamee, who you'll see on Thursday, and I believe the construction moratorium is now going to be extended to the reimbursing the housing aid is going to be extended to charter schools. So not only do we have schools that are in deplorable condition, but charter schools are going to be able to go after the same housing money.
You're kidding.
No,
Is that new?
this is what's in the air. None of this is.
Have they still not
None of this
lifted
is.
the moratorium?
I'm sorry.
Have they still not lifted?
No, I'll get to that in a minute. School districts are feeling financial strain from charter school growth. It's not a school choice issue, which they'll tell you it's a funding issue. The warning has been sounded for several years now that charter school expansion under Rhode Island's current funding system is unsustainable. Tax dollars supposedly follow students is now creating an expensive and inefficient separate charter infrastructure. We hear about consolidation of services and merging and working together. And locally, we've done that. Our IT tech department, brilliant move, brilliant move. We have the town and the school department working together in terms of all of our technology and our websites and all that, our maintenance. But merging and working together to save money and eliminate waste and duplication of service. The charter schools do just the opposite. The creation of a second school system has created duplicate costs. Giving it, for example, the town of Cumberland is spending $3 million annually in tuition payments for students who attend charters, but it's finding only 25% savings from those lost students. The town of Lincoln loses $1.8 million as a result of charter school attendance and would have to spend only $500,000 to accommodate them if they all went back. Charahoe Regional School District spends over $900,000 on charter school tuition, but the 88 students, if it would reabsorb them, would be $200,000.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Oh.
Can I ask you one
Yes.
question? Is it true, and I don't know if this is what I've heard, and I don't know if it's true, because that would go into what you're saying, that if at the beginning of the year, 100 kids applied to the charter school, and we got to pay for those 100 kids up front.
I'm going to get to
And
that
then
too. You are right.
50
Yeah.
kids get accepted, we lose the money on the other 50.
That's correct.
Is that true?
That's yeah. They have this private school, which we don't have, of weeding them out. Take a test, do a lottery, and then, oh, they don't fit, so they send them back after the allocation has been paid.
Wow.
Students who leave districts do not leave from one school or one grade level, so there is no savings like to North Providence School Department or any of them. Class cannot be eliminated, nor can a building be closed because a scattering of students have left. The mantra that the money follows the child is costing millions in taxes on a parallel system of public education, the per-pupil expenditure. Just because 20 students leave a district doesn't mean a district can eliminate a bus route, lay off a teacher, or close a classroom. Districts still have to heat the buildings, provide transportation, and pay the teachers and fund everything else that goes into the budget from which the per-pupil expenditure is derived. I've been teaching school for 35 years. This is my 35th year. If I lose a child tomorrow, it doesn't save the city of Cranston per-pupil expenditure. They pay me, my pension costs, my health care costs, they light the building, they pay the insurance, they heat the building. They didn't save $12,000 because somebody moved. And that's the mantra. And it's wrong. Make no mistake about it. Charter schools are creating a hole in our budgets, and they are loudly defending their right to do that. At the state level, we have the Lieutenant Governor, who's a champion of consolidation and saving money for Rhode Island's municipalities. But he speaks, he's an advocate of the charter school system. They have CEOs, they have mayoral academy CEOs and executive directors. The State House dome gets lit yellow, and they have the State House rallies and write their commentaries in the Journal. And of course, you saw Sunday's Journal, Mrs. Brady pointed out to me. I wasn't surprised by that, because that's the problem that they keep putting out there. But the per-pupil expenditure, they don't want to talk about that. The parallel system of public education, when we should be consolidating, they're setting up a duplicate. The charter school advocates would have you believe that the public versus charter debate is about choice. But what about taxpayers' choice and taxpayers' rights? Choice is fine if the state is going to fund towns and cities fairly and equitably. In Central Falls, for example, charter schools are funded entirely by the state without any impact to the city's finances. But in Cumberland and Lincoln, residents foot the bill. Cumberland is at the point where they're heading to the point where they're going to write a check for $4 million to charter schools. And if those students were educated in Cumberland School District, the bill would be about $1 million. That's $3 million for duplication of services, about which the Cumberland taxpayers had no say. And for every new dollar the state gives Cumberland, 85 cents goes to charters. Neither the town council, the school committee, or the residents had a say or a vote in this decision. The lieutenant governor will tell you that the initial charter bill had no fiscal impact and was budget neutral. North Providence School Committee's resolution, which we just passed, and I believe you all got a copy of it, demonstrates that there's a $700,000 hole in our budget, and that's going to grow. It's unsustainable. So it's not about choice, it's about funding. And the current funding formula is not fair to our communities, and the taxpayers have no say in any of it. When the Achievement First Mayoral Academy serving North Providence was chartered by the Board of Regents by the slimmest 4-3 vote, I recall at the time our mayor pledged that he would make the school department whole for every tuition paid to that school. And yet the request was not reflected in the budget, and it was, what, less than 1%? Charters, executive directors, and CEOs, and the Providence Journal like to tout themselves as serving all students with better results. This goes to your question, Mr. Juicy. They ignore the fact that they have application and enrollment procedures. Public school districts are not allowed to have a systematic weeding out of students whom we do not want to service. Charter school advocates ignore the fact that they exit our students after the per pupil payments have been made. That speaks to your question. Back to the public school districts. Our school districts are public, and from their enrollment and the retention procedures, charters act if they are private. And as evidence of that, I would submit the fiscal year 2014 out-of-district special education placement cost of a regular district, public schools in general, $72 million. But because of the per-pupil expenditure formula, this $72 million works its way into the local number that charters get a per-pupil share of. But charters only spent a combined $72,000 in out-of-district placements in 2014. Similar trends exist for special ed placement. High-cost special education, specifically career and vocational education placements, early intervention, postgraduate transition for the developmentally disabled, for instance, those children who don't get emancipated until the age of 21. When you look at the disparity, RIDE calls those numbers compelling. So somebody's onto something. The North Providence School Committee has joined the growing number of school committees and councils from around the state, and they are passing and forwarding resolutions petitioning the General Assembly to modify the fair funding formula, I'm going to speak about that next, to adequately fund districts facing charter school enrollment and to place a moratorium on expansion. The Rhode Island Fair Funding Formula calculates aid to education and phases it in over a 7-year phasing period to public school districts. We're in year 5 of that. But the charter schools are not subject to any phasing period, and they get 100% from day one, in addition to the tuition dollars they get from us, based on the per pupil expenditure. When you are given information that indicates North Providence is getting an individual, let me start over. In our current budget, you were given information that we're getting an additional $1.7 million in state aid. And that's true. But that's not because of a lobbying effort. That money's encumbered already. That money's going to vote. Davies, for instance, Davies, before the fair funding formula was enacted, Davies would take 5 of our kids annually. Why? They paid. Now, I want to go to Davies. Sure, come on in. Why? We pay. So they don't have a cap on, used to be a cap on per community. Now it's, I think we have 55 children who go to, and I'm not saying they shouldn't go to Davies, but it's the funding. It's how it's paid.
Hold on. So in years past, if you went to Davies, who paid for
State.
that? The state paid.
They would take 5 max from the town of North Providence. That was our allocation. They paid. Now that we pay, sure, come on in. We have 55 going now. There's no cap. When they paid, so the 1.7 is pension increase, state mandates. It's, why does North Providence School Department bus to Bayview? It's across the bridge. Somebody wanted us to do that way back in the day, right? And if you read the regulations, you have to do it in an hour. Try crossing the Washington Bridge in an hour in traffic and all that. But we don't go to Mount St. Charles, which is like, you know, up 146. So we have, I believe, 7 districts to which we bus, because we're centrally located, I suppose, which is expensive because, for instance, in Massachusetts, you can use a limo, a taxi.
Right, right.
Here, you have to have a bus with a monitor, state laws. So these are the mandates we have to fund. I'm sorry.
A yellow bus.
A yellow bus. A big yellow bus.
Yeah.
You might have 2 kids. So the money that 1.7 that we're getting is literally encumbered money. And the money that the school department was asking for and is not encumbered money. I don't know if you saw the resolution. I'm not going to read it. But this is the resolution that I would urge the town council to take this up and look at it and support the fair funding formula remake, so to speak, and that's Representative J. O'Grady's bill. The negative impact here is we now pay $1,044. But if we took all, and that's including Davies, but if we took all those kids back, you're talking $301,000. Fair funding formula was enacted as part of Race to the Top. Interesting name, Race to the Top. Not work to the top, race to the top. And that came directly from federal government through the commissioner. Bill Reynolds pretty much said it best. You ever read Bill Reynolds on a Saturday morning? It's the first thing you read on the sports page. He said, typical, hired gun, comes in, blows everything up, and leaves town, and leaves the rest of us to pick it up, which is what we're doing. But where did that race to the money, all that $1 million go? It did not go to school districts. 35 years in a classroom. It did not go to classrooms. The money went to consultants and friends, I use that word loosely, of the commissioner. Race to the Top forced us, all of us, to adopt something called the Common Core Standards. I know it's very controversial. And the POC test that accompanies it. POC. Anybody know what it stands for? I don't mean to put you on the spot. I don't even know what it stands for. I always have to
know
read
there's
it.
a ROD grant that could fund the POC.
I'm sorry?
I said, I know there's a ROD grant that could fund that POC.
Nah, that's what you think. Not anymore. The Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers. And these assessments are designed to measure whether students are on track for college or careers. I teach 10 and 11-year-olds. I'm worried about if they're ready for college or a career. 3rd graders ready for college or career. But that's what POC is all about. It's a federal fund, and it's, here it comes, unfunded mandate that forces school districts to invest millions in technology, to say nothing of the sustained costs for software, maintenance, and technology personnel. And what do we have to show for Race to the Top? We have that teacher evaluation that the General Assembly gutted, and we have wealthy consultants and millions of dollars for years to come, because this is part of the unsustainable. So you have the parallel charter school structure, and you have this investment in technology, which is going to be used for testing. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I've tested kids before, and paper and pencil worked pretty good, and you could go around the room, and you could make sure kids were bubbling properly, and then, and now I was giving POC today, and the whole system crashed. I had to bring in the tech. So now I got kids sitting around for 45 minutes. We read a book and did something else. But it was in the middle of their math POC test. So 30 minutes into this, the whole thing crashes. We have to wait for somebody to come fix our whatever it was server. Well, that's not fair to them either. But that's where we're headed, and it's unfunded. POC is your question. In order to get the fair funding, the moratorium charters was lifted. Who do you think wanted that? She's leaving, okay? That's why Achievement First showed up. Before there was a fair funding formula, Councilman Giusti, no one was around. There was no money to be made. There was no per pupil expenditure payment, okay? We struggled with it, and we did the best we could, and we got state aid, but the fair funding formula, which is being phased in over 7 years to us, charter's got it 100% up front, plus our local dollars. It's unsustainable. You're in a $700,000 hole right now, and it's growing. It's taken up enough of your time. Questions?
So what do we do to help you?
I say, look at our resolution, join in with the other communities, that's not only school committees that are doing the resolution, adopt one of your own. You can model it after ours. I'd be glad to sit down and meet with anybody and walk you through it, and adopt one. Ours was sent to all of the school departments, school districts, and our delegation, as well as I believe we sent one to Council President Ordiello. I think, not helping me, helping ourselves.
Did the other members get the resolution as well?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Did the other members get the resolution as well? I know you sent it to me.
I'm not sure. I think they sent it.
Superintendent mailed something yesterday. I received something
Was the
yesterday.
No, I got it to my house.
unanimous on the school committee?
I'm sorry?
How was the vote on the school committee on the resolution?
7-0. We would have done it last month, except, see, when I proposed it, it was indirectly in our budget because charter school and spending is there every year, every month. And so what we did is we wrote our resolution and put it as a separate item, and we did it last week. But it was not even a discussed issue. We had already vetted it, and everyone got their copy ahead of time. Our chairman and our clerk signed it, and I think they understood. It's unsustainable. I mean, we come to you asking for money, the mayor, but we got this hole.
Rod, can you tomorrow email or send our clerk a copy of the resolution?
Absolutely. I'll have Sharon do it.
I have a question. So, on the flip side,
Yes.
what do we ask? What do we tell a parent that wants to have their child go to
I'm
charter
not.
school?
They can still go. This is not
Well,
anti-charter.
they're going to say, "Well, you're taking money away from our charter schools." I can see how the conversation's going to go.
It's not money, it's the funding. It's how it's being funded. They're flush, we're not. And now they're going to get the moratorium lifted for the housing aid, which I believe John McNamee's coming for you with health and safety of $16 million. Okay? That has nothing to do with going forward with, that's just the health and safety. And we get the housing aid at like, not quite 58%, might be 57, 50, 56.8% reimbursement. Now, he has enough to get it, and he's going to explain all this, and he did the other night. He has enough to get it started. But that health and safety money is something that the charters are now going to have access to build buildings. We have buildings. The ride says it will cost $2 billion to get the state's buildings up to par, and we're going to lift the moratorium, and we're going to give them housing aid. That doesn't make any sense. So my answer to, I mean, I still coach down Little League. I have some kids who end up at the charter schools. We have the conversation. It's not an issue. They have every right to go there. But this is a funding. This is not school choice. This is a funding issue. I'll use Hendricken as an example. What makes Hendricken a good school? Is it their state testing? Well, no, they don't do that. Is it their Division I hockey? Well, not this year, maybe, because LaSalle beat them. I don't know. Mr. Kramer's kids. Is it, what makes it a good school? Reputation. Reputation. What makes North Providence good schools? It's not reputation, because every day it's POC, it's testing, we're just testing kids to death, and the charter schools are pretty good at doing that too. So it's not school choice, it's school funding. And that parent may have that choice, but who decided to set up that parallel system? It wasn't the taxpayers in North Providence. It wasn't the elected officials in North Providence. And I believe there's a hearing, it might even be tomorrow, that's looking to put a moratorium on expansion of charters, and any new charters have to be approved by the local community first. This is all being done by the state, by Rhode, and by sailing out of town. So my answer to the person who wants to go to the charter is, no problem. But if you recall, that Mayoral Academy was put into North Providence. What was the issue? Do we have failing schools? No. So what was the choice?
How many students from North Providence go there?
I have that number. I don't have the specific total charters. 55 at a cost of $527,000. Vocational 75 at a cost of $688,000. 2 for alternate learning. I don't know the Mayoral Academy. It's not just we have the Met, and special needs, 63 students, $3,500,000. Those charter schools don't service those children. Hence, but they're getting the state aid, money follows the child, and our money, the local money. And we're being cut. Yeah, yes, we get an increase in state aid. But when you hear about our private and parochial and special ed vocational school busing, because, you know, when we send them to these schools, we have to bus them there too. 1,300,000. That's not the kids in our town. Those kids going other places. And in district is 1,300,000. Sports, 90,000. So, I mean, we spend $90,000 on sports, busing, because kids go to different games. That's, you might think that maybe that's an out. But when you look at those other numbers, 1.3 million and 1.3 million. And special needs students tuition out of district, 3.5 million. Charter schools, 527,000. Vocational, 687. When you add it all up, you're talking almost 5 million.
Can we get a copy of that?
I believe Mr. McNamee has the whole piece for you. It's from the budget workshop. Okay. I went and added to the, he's going to have it down as 487, but I have new information. He'll have that most likely for you on Thursday. And by the way, the reason I did this is I can't come on Thursday. You know, 35 years I'll still be in school in the afternoon, but I did want to come and have the conversation with everyone, just so when you're going into your workshops, you have a different perspective. At least I hope I provided you with a different perspective.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for your diagram.
you like that, huh?
That's the best.
This is it's a division algorithm, you know. There's only 4 things you can do the numbers. And this has nothing to do with anything, but I was thinking on my way over. We have a problem with speeding in this town, and we put speed bumps up. And we have $850,000 or so in the budget to repair roads. I should leave the roads alone. If they want to speed on bumpy roads, let them do it. And then
Now they're putting claims in.
you say
It's
no.
even more.
No, because if you slow down on our potholes and our speed bumps, you wouldn't have a claim. You were doing 45 and we saw you. I know I was saying it tongue in cheek, but think about it. There is logic in that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rod.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 26, parking issues on Lookout Avenue. Council President Ordiello requests discussion and possible vote concerning parking issues on Lookout Avenue. I put this item on the agenda because I received an email about there's a dentist's office, and the employees of this dentist's office are parking on Lookout Avenue, and it's blocking Smith Street. The residents on that street had gone to zoning and were waiting for an opinion from zoning, but never got that. So, you guys are from Lookout Avenue? Oh, you can come up. Sorry that it's late. Trying to get through this agenda as fast as possible. Can you just state your name for the agenda for the record?
Kenneth Doucette.
Oh, okay.
Don Hebert.
Nice meeting you.
I want to thank you for putting this on the docket, President, because I guess the resident at 5, which is closer to the dentist, is the one that started the letter and the pictures that were sent to the zoning board. And she didn't get a reply from the zoning board until today, and the reply was, call the police. I don't think it's a police issue because they're not like blocking our driveways. What they're doing is they're parking and staying from 7:30 in the morning till 7, 8 o'clock at night. And then we have people come in or we have deliveries and we got no place for them to go. This didn't happen until the dentist that originally had the property sold it to this other person, which now he has all his clients, all of the other dentist's clients, and now they have double the amount of staff. There is no parking, and they're just parking all over the roads. I don't know why they don't park on Smith Street across from Evans, which looks like there's plenty of parking there, but they just block the streets. And in the wintertime, the pictures that were sent to the zoning board, you could see it was ridiculous. The fire engines couldn't get by. We were having trouble getting by. An oil truck almost flipped over trying to get by because they park on both sides. And like I said, if it's the person going to the dentist facility, That's one thing. They're in and out in, what, an hour? That's no big deal. Right. But it's the workers that are parking there that just take up the time and the spaces.
Do you think no parking signs would help in the,
I would think that if there was like residential parking only for the it's only about 7 houses that it really hurts. The rest of the street is wide open, that nobody has a problem, but it's right at that corner.
Councilman Field, do you want to?
I just want to add this, I got on the map now, it's got 11 spots in the parking lot. And it is, Lookout Ave's a tight street.
Yeah.
You want 7 houses on both sides of the street?
They park on both sides of the street.
So you want 7 on both sides going back with resident parking?
Right.
So you go 7 lots, 7 houses.
Right.
On both sides.
On both sides of the street, yeah. Yeah, my house is actually the first one on the left as you turn onto Lookout. The lady that sent the letter, she's the first house right next to the dentist. And I guess she's having other issues with him too. She's having a lot of arguments with him. We just can't seem to get anything done. I know there's employee parking on the right side of his building, but when you go over it and you look, they're just jammed in there. And then they end up on our street, the remainder, and then you have the people coming in and out. And even the amount of clients they have that come at one time, they're just jammed in there. Sometimes you can't even turn the corner.
Okay.
Well, I think at the very least, we should put another sign about parking within 25 feet of the corner on Lookout Ave.
Yeah, but that's only going to push them back more in front of their property.
Originally, when Dr. Correa first had it, he came before this town council, and he was granted a lot of things because he said he was going to do things. One thing he was going to do was put a chain up at night so the people from the ballpark couldn't park in there. That never happened.
Are they doing that now? Are they parking in there now, the ballpark?
They go in there. They go in and out all night long.
Oh, really?
People, yeah.
You're saying no or yes?
Some of the kids go in there, park there, and you hear the music and everything.
Because you were
else.
saying no, and I didn't know.
No, I mean, yeah, they're doing that. They're just parking in there anytime they want, but
They know he's closed, so they park on it.
Right.
And then they had originally had the ordinance sign put up about picking up your litter out of your dog when your dog goes around. He had a landscaper come, and the landscaper took it down. Everybody thought he was going to put it back up and pick up. It never came back up. He took off with it. This was with the old dentist. So he's been allowed to get away with a lot. But this new dentist has got too many employees.
Well, I'm going to refer this matter to the ordinance committee because we're going to look into residential parking signs. In the meantime, could you get me like a petition or signatures of the homeowners in that area that are affected by this?
Sure, that wouldn't be. I'm sure that's not an issue because we all have the same problem.
And we can see where we can go from there.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a motion on the table. Well, I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Canzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? And I'll let you know in a timely fashion when the ordinance meeting will be, and then we can get an idea of how many residents.
Can I email it to you to your email address, or just send it?
Yeah, you can email me, but you can give the signatures to the town clerk.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 27, pumping station on May Street. Council President Ordiello, Councilman Warren, and Councilman DeStefanis request discussion and possible vote concerning a pumping station on May Street. I put this item on the agenda, and I also contacted the other two councilmen from that district. On May Street, what I believe is that there is a pumping station under the ground, and this pumping station is making a loud boom early in the morning, and the residents are pretty up in arms about it. I happen to know a resident that I'm fairly close with that lives on the street, so he contacted me. I know he had contacted Councilman Warren as well. And
what kind of pumping station is that? What's it pumping? Water or fuel?
Well, it must be sewage, right?
Sewage, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if it's water, because Main Street always had that law. I know they always had a problem with flooding out on that street forever and ever. Put this in there. And it might be doing other than that, Councilman, as well. It might be serving your purpose, but there's some garage buildings, something, right, Council President?
Yes. Yeah. Do you have any questions? about this, or, because I'm gonna send a letter to, I'm gonna entertain a motion to send a letter to, DPW to have them go down there and check out this pumping station and see if there's an issue with it, or if we can contact someone to, you know, have them go out and fix it, or what's going on down there, 'cause.
No, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it, thank you. Item number 28, Councilman DeStefanis requests discussion and vote on upgrading the town's website to be more interactive and informative, while also ensuring that all departments are utilizing any and all technology available. This item was continued from the regular April Town Council meeting. Do you want this item continued?
To June.
Okay, we're gonna, do I have a motion to continue this meeting, to continue this item to June?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 29, Route 146 overpass. Councilman Warren requests discussion and possible vote on the Route 146 overpass on Middle Spring Avenue. Councilman Warren asked me to have this item continued to the June meeting. I'd like to entertain a motion to continue this item. Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Catanzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. I don't want to do anything. Item number 30, 366 Woonsocket Avenue property. Councilwoman Catanzaro requests discussion and possible vote on the property located at 366 Woonsocket Avenue. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mr. President. This property on Woonsocket is an old tavern, I believe, and it's been really torn down and broken windows. It's in tattered condition, and I've gotten several complaints on it over the years. In our packet, we have all the deeds and different people that have bought it at tax sale. What I wanted to do, I do see that they have some tape around it. I did talk to someone who is cleaning up the property. I wanted to send a letter to Minimum Housing, ask them if the property at all has been cited and if they have any time frame of when this is going to be cleaned up and what they're doing about the actual area. So as simple as that, send it and then continue this item to next month, and so we can follow it through.
Okay, Councilwoman Catanzaro has made a motion to send a letter to Minimum Housing and continue the item to next month. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 31, procedures and guidelines when filing claims against the town. Councilman Fiola requests discussion and possible vote for the procedures and guidelines when filing a claim against the town of North Providence. Councilman?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. I put this item on the agenda to send to our claims committee so that when we're handling a claim, there's a more consistent approach. Right now, we don't have too much, I think, at all in the clerk's office or even in our claims committee, how we handle claims. So I want to set some guidelines so moving forward, we'll have a consistent basis of handling and settling claims. So I make a motion to
that's a
send
great idea.
to claims committee. Should this go to any other committee, or claims should be sufficient?
I would keep it in there.
Okay.
I guess unless it becomes law or something like that, it needs a resolution to make part of our council minutes or something like that, like how our procedure is.
All right.
Yeah.
Like our legal counsel said, it could be more of a policy.
Okay. Your legal counsel did send me some nice state statutes, so
All right.
thank you for that.
So Councilman Fiola has a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Catanzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 32. Hold off for a second. Okay, Item number 32, Media Initiative. Councilwoman Brady requests discussion and possible vote concerning upgrades for streaming the town council meetings. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mr. President. Due to technological changes in the industry, for example, from transitioning from JavaScript and Silverlight to Chrome, the IT director and I have been gathering information for the upgrades that are necessary to maintain compatibility with these universal changes and to improve the audio-visual components of our meetings. As a result, on the software side, we are going to need to upgrade our software as well as our hardware, and this will enable us to continue the services that we're currently providing for our residents. We're also looking to improve the video quality by purchasing a new camera. I'm in the process of acquiring a quote and a proposal from Granicus, that's our host server, for the new software and hardware, and I'll be reporting back at the next month's meeting with all of that information for you. Under our current agreement, we are under a monthly maintenance program through December 31st of this year. I make a motion to continue this matter to next month.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Councilwoman Brady has made a motion, seconded by Councilman Faiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Let's have it. Item number 33, codification of records. Councilwoman Brady requests discussion and possible vote concerning codifications of records in the town clerk's office.
Thank you, Mr. President. I put this item on the agenda because of recent interaction in the clerk's office. I realize that the ordinances have not been codified in quite a while. Codification, of course, is the process of organizing and arranging all of the legislation, as well as coming up with an end product through research, review, revision, and organization of all local ordinances, with the output being a comprehensive document. And part of this process is review by attorneys so that the ordinances relate to each other legally and relate back to previous decisions, and to verify also that they are not in conflict with state statutes. So we would need to go out to bid for this under our charter and let the purchasing board know what the funding source would be for this project. So I am going to be in touch with several codification companies for proposals so that the council has an idea of what a ballpark cost for this would be, so that next month when I ask you to go out to bid, you'll have that information. I will make a motion for support from the council that when the bid is awarded, that you would be in agreement with taking the funds out of the recording fees account that is used for document preservation, which this clearly is.
Okay, Councilwoman Brady's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Can we ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Second.
Actually, go ahead.
When was the last time we actually codified the records?
Well, I know when Mr. Rendine was here as our town clerk in '96, he had them codified. But moving forward, if a company comes in, they would do a comprehensive review of our records to be sure that legally there haven't been, since his time, there haven't been any ordinances in contradiction, and there may not have been. So we just need to take a look at what the cost of that would be.
Will you be codifying from '96 to the present, or going all the way back?
I think it would be good to get an idea of how many ordinances would need to be codified that are in clerk base at this time, and see if that meets the criteria of the codification company.
Our new zoning ordinance are going to have to be codified,
Well,
too.
they would be.
Yeah.
And this is actually quite timely, so
Yeah.
that they would benefit from this.
Does anyone have an idea as to what this could cost?
Well, that's why I'm going out to find that out before the next meeting. I want to see what some proposals would be. There are a number of companies that do codify records, and I want to get that information for you. I'll have the clerk email it to everyone so that before the next meeting, you'll have an idea.
Well, we just gave out 35 out of that account, so I'm just wondering.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Councilwoman Brady has made a motion and a second by Councilwoman Catanzaro. All those in favor?
I'm sorry, what was that motion again? To support?
Motion for
taking the
support
monies
that
from
when the
chapter
bid is
seven.
awarded, you agree with taking the funds out of the recording fees account.
I just wanted to make sure
Well,
I had it.
are we, okay, I have another question, I'm really sorry. Are we voting to investigate the matter, or are we actually voting to go out to bid to actually do the matter?
No, you're gonna come back next month with the...
You're voting with the understanding that when I present some estimates of what this would cost, that you'd be willing to take those funds from the recording fees account
Once the bid is awarded.
as the funding source,
Yeah, but
so that you have that understanding.
what happens, and I'm not, I know it's gonna be exorbitant, but let's say it comes back that it's 90,000 to do this. I mean, we willing to take another 90,000 out of that, up front?
Well, I don't think it would be. I think we would definitely need another vote after getting the proposals, but my motion was so that you would all, to be sure that you were all on the same page in terms of where the funding would come from, if it's feasible to do it all.
Right.
I don't have a problem entertaining to see how much.
Yeah, I think we need to do it. I don't have a problem either entertaining, but I don't want to commit to doing it without knowing first what it's going to cost.
Right, and the final decision would come when you have the proposals to
Add another
review to
vote.
get an estimate, and there would have to be, of course, a separate vote for that. It's just, this is the only funding source available to do this with. There isn't any other place to take the funds from.
So you're gonna make, is he gonna make the motion?
Well, I mean, okay, I guess we can
I
get
made
into
the
that next
motion, it was
month.
seconded.
Yep.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilwoman...
What was the
Yes.
motion? Could we read the motion?
The motion was for support from the council that when the bid is awarded, the council agrees with taking the funds out of the recording fees account.
Yeah, where else would it come from?
There isn't any other place to take it
Yeah, I
from.
think, not to interrupt, but Councilman, I've been talking to Councilman Brady about this. I think it's more of a point, and I don't think she and I have been talking about what this would entail and the proposals. I think the issue is she didn't want to start down this road unless she had kind of like some, everybody was on the same page that if you do this, that, you know, it's worthwhile for her to investigate it, and if you did this, that it would come out of that fund. Obviously, like I said to Councilman Brewster earlier, it would need another vote anyway, so you wouldn't be voting to say, okay, you know, she has carte blanche for $90,000. Obviously, you're gonna have another vote. But she's gonna be putting some decent amount of time in over the next month to get you the proposals and so forth to look at, to see if you wanted to do it. And I think her issue was that I think she wanted to start down that road unless you guys were kind of like in support of the concept at least, you know, and taking the money out of that source. But you still have to vote on the amount of money to come out of that source.
And if it goes out to bid, they would have to know what the funding source was.
Correct.
That's part of the ordinance.
And that's why I wanted to present
Right.
it to everyone this way and be sure that I provide everyone with some proposals, so you'll have
I think the-
something to look at, tangible.
I think the reason why I got stuck is your motion had, you know, when the bid is awarded. So we're not actually awarding the bid right now.
No, we're not even close
Okay.
to
You
that.
have to vote next month to go out with it.
Okay.
And we are also continuing this, is that
It-
part of the motion?
It has to be continued.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion's on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Item number 34, speeding issue. Councilwoman Brady requests discussion and possible vote concerning speeding in the vicinity of Maynard Street and Rosner Avenue. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Council President. I've had complaints from residents about vehicles that are speeding in this area, And I would like to make a motion that we send a letter to Sergeant Scaramuzzo and the administration asking that the sergeant assess the situation, and I will forward the contact information from the residents to the town clerk to forward to the sergeant.
Okay, are there any questions of Councilwoman Brady?
Second.
Motion's on the floor, seconded by Councilwoman Canzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 35, resolution number 15-004. Town Council discussion and vote to adopt resolution 15-004 to designate the second full week of May as Women's Lung Health Month. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt resolution 15-004.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilman Stephanus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 36, board appointments. Town council discussion and action with regard to appointments to be made to the following boards. A, Juvenile Hearing Board. I'd like to entertain a motion to reappoint Jean Vickers, 4 Carmine Drive.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Canzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. And B, Land Trust Advisory Board. I'd like to entertain a motion to reappoint Louis Pucci, Esquire, 22 Rockwell Street, and Teresa Mergina, 72 Hobson Avenue.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. 37, license renewals. Received applications for the renewal of victualling, holiday sales, laundry, firearms, peddler, jiu-jitsu, karate, extended hours, and 24-hour licenses.
You gotta read all these?
Can I just, where am I going with that? Okay, do I have a motion to approve victualling for $100?
So moved.
Wait,
Second.
oh, hold on a second. If you're not gonna go through the list, which I don't have a problem with, I'm just going to, I'm recusing because of a business relationship from a couple of the,
Why don't you tell us which ones?
So I'll-
We can carve those out of the list.
yeah. Captain's Catch, Catton's House Pizzeria, Mozzarella's,
Yeah, but she's still gonna recuse.
Paulie Pentas, Simply Seasonal, Shaw's, AW,
Why did she just recuse?
Shores, ORES, and Stop and Shop.
both shores, okay.
A lot of an abundance of caution, I sell my product there, I don't wanna,
It's easy for her to recuse herself.
I had, yeah, I did it the way Mia told me to do it, 'cause we went over it today, how to do it, so.
Easy.
Why don't you just, yeah, why
Well,
don't you just-
Marion said that they read the list, and then at the very end of whatever category it is, just say which ones that
All
I
right,
recused
I'll
from.
read them. So,
I can just give you this,
Can,
yeah,
do you have any issues with anyone else on here?
I just said them.
No,
They're
no,
the
no.
companies that I sell my
don't mean the ones that
product.
you're recusing yourself from. I mean, anyone else on here that you
No.
have no. So why don't you just fully recuse? Rather than go through them one at a time.
I don't need to recuse on all of them.
No, she doesn't need to recuse on all of them. We'll do it this way.
Approve them all except for Captain's Catch, Captain's Hours, Mozzarella,
Right.
Pentas, Simply Seasonal, Shores, both Shores, and Stop and Shop. Somebody make that motion to approve those on the list?
So
I will make that motion.
All right, so.
I'll second.
There you go.
okay. No, that's good, thank you.
Motion to approve all but those on the list.
Okay, motion to approve. All right, so Councilman Juicy and Councilman Brady's made the motion to approve all the businesses on the list, except for,
The 8.
The 8 list.
Captain's Catch, Catanzaro's, Mozzarella's, Polly Pentas, Simply Seasonal, Shores, and what's that? Stop and Shop. And that was seconded by Councilman Giusti. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Now a motion to approve those eight.
And now a motion to approve Captain's Catch. I can't see that. Sorry, Catanzaro's,
Chicken scratch.
Mozzarella's, Polly Pentas, Simply Seasonal, Shores, and Stop and Shop.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Yes, and let the record show that I recused for that vote.
Motion's been made by Councilman Brady, seconded by Councilman Giusti. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
That's in count.
Okay. I'm just gonna read this. Okay. Holiday license, Codsmart, Cosmo Proof, Grinali Bakery, Cumberland Farms, number 1224, Cumberland Farms, number 1256, CVS, number 351, Dollar Tree, number 4632, Eastside Shell, Family Dollar, number 7649, Family Pet Center, Genocide Inc., GNC, HKB Market, Jiffy Lube, number 775, JW Mini Mart, Kangaroo CD and tapes, Lowe's, number 2863, Mineral Spring Ave, Getty, Mineral Spring Ave, Shell, North Providence Food Mart, Ocean State Nutrition, Payless Shoe Sauce, number 5406, Pet Supplies Plus, Public Storage, Rainbow, Rite Aid, number 10248, Rite Aid, number 10255, Sally's Beauty Supply, Salon Centric, Sam's Food Store, Shores Supermarket, number 7443, Shores Market, Smith Street Express, Smith Street Shell, Smokestack Cigar Shop, Sonia, African Hair Braiding, Spices and Things, Stop and Shop, Stop and Wash, Stop and Save, Walgreens Pharmacy, 03737. Do I have a motion to approve the holiday license?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. President, let the record show I'll be recusing for Shaw's Market, and Stop and Shop.
Okay. Motion's been made by Councilman Giusti, seconded by Councilman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. You got those recusals, obviously. Extended hours, Avenue Grill, Betty's Restaurant, Taco Bell, Charles Street Diner. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady. Second. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Canzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. 24-hour license. CVS number 351, Sam's Food Store. UFit Health Clubs, Cumberland Farms, number 1224. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made by Councilwoman Canzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those
Nay.
opposed? Reflecting Councilman Juicy's. Voted nay. Laundry, the Laundry Works, Baylong Laundromat, Keep It Clean, Stop and Wash, Waterman Laundromat. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Canzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Firearms, A1 Sports, Smith Hill Jewelry and Guns. All those, do I have a motion to approve?
I have a question.
So moved.
Catalog.
Okay.
Just catalog. Yeah.
Okay. I know the answer. You
Motion
read my
been-
mind.
Yeah, I knew he was gonna say that.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Canzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Peddlers, Dell's Lemonade, Kona Ice, Shaved Ice, North Creamery, North End Deli, Lodgy's Ice Cream. Roll with it. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made by Councilman Canzaro, seconded by Councilman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Jiu-Jitsu and Karate, RI Martial Arts. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Brady, seconded by Councilman Canzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. That's it.
Yep.
Item number 38, Finance Committee reports. Town Council discussion and action with regard to the Finance Committee reports to be presented by Councilman DeStefanis. Councilman? You can make a motion to accept and place it.
Mr. President, I make a motion to accept and place the minutes on record.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman DeStefanis, seconded by Councilman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Ordinance Committee reports. Town Council discussion and action with regard to Ordinance Committee report to be presented by Councilman Giusti. Councilman?
I make a motion that we have a resolution here, and I make a motion that we approve this resolution and send it to the General Assembly for adoption.
Councilman Juicy's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
But we need to accept the report as well.
Okay. You want to make a motion to accept the report?
Okay.
You're going to make a motion.
I'm going to make a motion that we accept the report as given.
Second.
Councilman Juicy's made a motion to accept the report, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Claims Committee report. Town Council discussion and action with regard to the Claims Committee to be presented by Councilman Fiola. Councilman?
You have before you the North Providence Claims Committee report. Make a motion to accept as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilman Fiola, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 41, Financial Audit Committee report. Town Council discussion and action with regard to Financial Audit Committee report to be presented by Councilwoman Canzaro. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mr. President. In front of you, you have minutes of the meeting from 3/5/15 and the minutes that we approved tonight in committee 4/22/15. I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
No, I'll make a motion, I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Canzaro has made a motion. It's been seconded by Councilwoman Brady. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Item number 42, Claims Committee, Claims Submitted. Town Council discussion and action with regard to the claims received from the following: Isabella Bruzzi, 1 Barbara Ann Drive, North Providence, Rhode Island; Rocco Parenti, 54 Charlotte Street, North Providence, Rhode Island; and David and Kim Zaroli, 6 Bourne Ave, North Providence, Rhode Island. I'd like to entertain a motion to send these claims to the Claims Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Canzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 43, tax abatements under $1,000. Town Council discussion and action with regard to the list of tax abatements under $1,000 received from the acting tax assessor and Board of Tax Review in the amount of $355.40 for real estate, $135.41 for motor vehicles, and $1,455.41 for motor vehicles with corresponding addenda. Do I have a motion to abate? No.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Canzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Tax addendas, Town Council discussion and action and possible vote with regard to the list of tax addenda received from acting tax assessor in the amount of $1,455.41 for motor vehicles and corresponding abatements and $219.38 for tangibles. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Brady, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Councilwoman Canzaro, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.